Hi, my name is Chris Puccini, and I want to thank you for joining us today at New Life's Leadership Podcast. Pastor Jeff is going to join us in a few moments and share some leadership principles that we hope inspire you and challenge you to continue to grow as a leader. So we're going to just talk about a couple things, a couple foundational things that are important to leaders, important to leadership and developing leadership. And here's one phrase I'm going to give you and then have you comment.
Okay.
If you want to lead, you need to learn to follow. If you want to lead, you need to learn to follow. So what comes to your mind when you think about that?
Well, first off, when you follow other leaders, you get to learn both their great attributes and you get to learn from their mistakes as well.
Yeah.
So being a good follower means that you have to first have an incredible sense of spiritual authority, which means that God is the one who puts people in positions of leadership. Those leaders may or may not treat you the way you feel like you need to be treated, but you follow them out of first obedience to God.
Right.
So that's first. The second thing is, though, when you are a good follower, it's like sowing seed, right? You're sowing seed for your future. And when you're a good follower, you're sowing seed so that others in the future will follow you. And I remember back to when I was just an intern in youth ministry. And the guy that I was interning underneath, Pat Donaldson, who was the district youth director of Alaska, I remember when I was getting ready to launch into my first full-time youth ministry position, which was at a church that couldn't pay me anything. So that's kind of ironic, right? Full-time, they can't pay me anything. But I was going all in. He said to me with tears in his eyes, you've served me. You've followed me. You've gone to really the ends of the vision with me. And I believe with all my heart that God's going to bless your ministry with people that will follow you. And that stuck with me all of these years. And I've watched that principle be true. A faithful follower will always get in their future, in their leadership, they'll get faithful followers. And so I guess it's really kind of like when you lead, who do you want to lead? Right? So follow in the way that you want others to follow you.
Yeah, and so I think the whole idea of being a good follower has built into it that concept, this idea of being a servant.
It does.
If you're not willing to be a servant, here's what I know: if you're not a good follower, when you do get positional leadership, you'll become prideful because you never learn to follow and serve, and you'll become autocratic. That means I call the shots, what I say goes, and so there's a lot of pitfalls in that, and I've actually been there before in some of those pitfalls.
Yeah.
So it's very important, even as you, I think, grow in positional leadership, that you never are above being a servant. Right?
I think that's why you hear me say often, never forget where you came from.
Right.
It works for evangelism. Never forget where you came from. You'll extend grace to people because you remember the pain of your sinful past. The same thing holds true in leadership. Never forget where you came from. That when you served in the smallest capacity, you're going to have people that are going to serve you in that way, and you'll lift them up. You'll see basically the pyramid of leadership where we often put the leader at the very top, and I don't think there's really anything wrong with that, where the leader's there.
Right.
But the attitude has to be a reverse pyramid, where the leader actually is at the bottom. So if you never forget what it was like to follow, then you'll be the greatest servant leader, and you'll always serve the least of those that are on your team. You'll have a great team.
And those are great thoughts. So the second foundation we're going to talk about real quick is that great leaders seek accountability. And so this word accountability to a lot of people would have maybe a negative connotation. That accountability is something that's oppressed upon you or happens to you. When you've done something wrong, you're held accountable. But accountability is actually a great thing that we need, and leaders need to seek accountability. What are your thoughts about that?
Well, there's a couple of things. First off, accountability helps us to accomplish the mission. Too many times we've all had great ideas, but we didn't have anybody that we were accountable to. And so where did those great ideas go? Some of them for you right now are still sitting on the shelf, and you kind of almost kick yourself. And so without accountability, leaders can feel very guilty because great ideas that God gave us never get done. So accountability brings people close to you. It's like the difference between an acquaintance and a friend. So are you leading people that are just acquaintances to you? Are you leading people that are friends? Friends get an inside track, right? They get into your heart. That's one of the things I love about serving here at New Life. We're trying to create a team of people that are close to me, that have the ability to speak into a situation and say, hey, Jeff, are you really thinking this all the way through? I have a question about it. So accountability allows the people that are closest to you, helping to accomplish your ministry, to ask the questions that you can't see, because accountability also helps you, see the blind spots. And every one of us has blind spots. We all have things that we just don't know. I have blind spots, and some of you, you know them, and you can tell me about them, all right? You can say, Jeff, here's something I see in your life, and I would value that. So accountability has to be a two-way street, right? It's creating this safe place for the people that are closest to you in leadership to be able to tell you about your blind spots, to be able to ask a question and not feel like they're going to get slammed over it. So accountability is something that you as a leader, you have to create that. It's not just going to come and find you. Yeah. You have to create it. And in all of our lives, unfortunately, not to make this session maybe too long, but just one last thought. In all of our lives, because of our ineffective leadership that we've led with, myself included, we've all pushed away from us some of the greatest team members that we needed, the people that God literally sent to us to help us become a better leader through the accountability of the friendship of leadership, of bringing people close to you. And so I would just want to caution all of us. Let's do the best that we can to lead in a safe way that allows those closest to you to be able to speak into your personal life as a leader and to be able to speak into the mission of the ministry that you're leading. And in that, God will continue to send us people that are like gold, right? That will help us to accomplish the mission by seeing our blind spots and helping us see the bigger scope of the ministry that we're leading versus maybe the microscope that only I can see as one person.
Man, those are some great thoughts. So just to wrap it up today, we hope you're encouraged and inspired, that accountability is a good thing, that great leaders will seek out accountability. It does take a level of humility and a little bit of self-awareness to go, you know what, I need someone else in my life to help me grow, and that great leaders learn to follow well. And so we hope you're encouraged today.